Hey guys, what's up? It's your course director, Emily Ray here. Just wanted to give you a little bit of positive, productive feedback on these portfolio websites that you guys recently submitted. So what I'm going to do is poke through these each one by one and offer you a little bit of insight on some things to think about as you keep nudging this towards this next best iteration. So the expectation, of course, is that you take this feedback and pair it with your own growing understanding of what you need a portfolio for, and make some revisions prior to getting into your next portfolio class, which is Portfolio 7. That class is really going to be more about looking for jobs and interviewing, so you're going to want to have a really solid portfolio heading into Portfolio 7. So we're going to start here with Malia. So the site is really well laid out. We've got a nice introduction up here that lets us know what she's all about. Simple, intuitive navigation up here at the top, and then her social media links are in fact linking out to other locations online where we could connect. A lot of times people forget to link these and they go back to Wix accounts or Weebly accounts or WordPress, so it's always a good step to make sure that they're connected to the places that you want to go to. Scrolling down, I just say looking for my next opportunity. So it's an invitation to let us know, where she's at and what she's into. We've got clients and collaborations down here. It's visual, it's clean. There's not a lot of information here on the homepage, and I'm wondering as we kind of move through these next little bits. There's a really nice, concise about me here, but no image. Skills, this is all listed really nice. And then the work experience, which really kind of flows nicely like a resume. So this is laid out beautifully. And this text here is keyword-rich content that will help people find you, based upon the search terms that they put in and how well that matches what your site has to offer. And we've got the education down here. One of the things that I say is that once you have your collegiate work listed, the high school stuff doesn't need to be included in that it is a prerequisite for what you've done in college. So something to think about. Of course, the exception is if you went to a specialty school, right? Like if it was a media school or a magnet school of some kind, and you want to show some sort of really, extended training. Under portfolio, we're going to pop in here. Talks about what you do for companies, and then you've got your projects here. So what I appreciate so much is not just that you've shown me these assets, but that you've given me some context to help understand what it is that we're looking at here. You tell me what they needed and how you responded. You created a logo for their brand and a color scheme as well. So all of this stuff is laid out really wonderfully, and it's done in a way that I can appreciate not just these finished products, but your process throughout. So that's something that I'm really going to be looking for with everybody's portfolio sites. One thing I might suggest is, instead of having the context up here before we see the images, maybe putting them side by side, so that I'm not having to kind of continue to scroll. So maybe the images are going to kind of go over here in this area. It'll make the page just a little less long. One of the things for you guys to be thinking about with videos is a custom thumbnail. And so that way you can kind of ensure what your audience sees here as if you've embedded this player. Another thing to think about are these titles, right? So this says Final Mix. I don't know if that's the actual title of the video or if it was the title of the assignment that you did, right? So that's something that you can do to increase the professionalism of the work that you're showing, is to give it these meaningful titles and descriptions, and kind of pull it away from this was just an assignment submission. Scrolling down here, just seeing a lot of really great work. The site is looking awesome, Malia, and just really quickly, contact me, let's make stuff. You've got a call to action here, places to get in touch or messages to send. There's not much here on this page. There's not a ton on the home page. I'm wondering if there's some way you can marry some of this so that it can be a little bit more condensed. One of the tricks that I always like to use is to put a contact form in the footer of the page. That way any page that you're on, someone could scroll to the bottom and get to a place to contact you. So just something to think about there. All right, next up we're going to take a look at Julian's site. Okay, so a little a nice photo. Welcome to my portfolio, a chance to learn more. We've got a video here. It's an interview demo reel, so that's cool. Something to be thinking about here too is also custom thumbnails if you don't have them already. Something that's engaging, maybe makes people want to click on this. In addition to the title, I think some on-screen text here that says this is your demo reel would really be helpful. Just in case someone doesn't see this or doesn't think to look there to find out what it is, it's good that people will have that context just to be able to go ahead and submit that or press play there. Looking at this subscribe form, wondering like if this was a template feature that you just didn't delete, or if there actually is an email newsletter that you send out. Something to be thinking about, especially when you're using templates, is to remove all of the parts that you're not using. Your logo's real small, so wondering if there is another version of this that would allow you to have maybe more of a horizontal or a landscape to fill this space over here, because as it is, it's pretty small. Let's see, let's poke around. We're going to go to the About Me. Looks like we have a nice image, and then this is loading in. So this is great. Something to think about is that by placing the image here, it means that I have to scroll down to get the full story. Again, why not maybe put the image over here so that I'm not having to scroll as much to see them in conjunction and the relationship that they have to each other. Anytime you have a lot of text, specifically paragraph text, meaning more than just one word or statement, you want to left align that for easy readability. It's harder for our eyes when we're reading in English from left to right for there to be a new starting point for each sentence. These are the things that we know about user behavior online. And so as designers or as media specialists who are creating content for these environments, if this is what we know about our users, we need to design things to support their habits. Looking here, we've got what looks like your resume stuff coming in. Anytime you have bullets, you're going to want that left align tube for the same scanning benefits there. Scrolling up, I might also include some differing looks here to separate what we see as the position that you are in versus these statements about what you did. So, and I might even give these bullet points here. So maybe bump this up a point or two, maybe make it bold so that we can more clearly distinguish. You do have it in all caps, but I think it needs a little bit more weight and to be a little bit bigger as well. Press interviews, so we're going to pop over here. We got a lot of really fun things popping up. So if these are not custom thumbnails, I recommend that you include them. But all of this looks great. You've done a really beautiful job of saying like when these things were. It might be fun to and beneficial to maybe write a short description of what these events were. In case someone doesn't know, right? Like if they don't understand the significance of what you did here. That's just giving the viewer a bit more context to understand and appreciate the content and your access at these events and the people that you are interviewing. So a little bit more information here I think would also just help strengthen this section. Going over to contact, just a simple contact form, places that we can connect online, which is great. This all looks nice. Articles, so here are some different articles. Wondering if maybe you want to put like a short excerpt or a summary of what these things are about in case someone doesn't have the time or ability to read all of them. They can pick and choose which one they want to take a look at based upon their interest, and they might have more context to make an informed choice if you put a short description there. So something to be thinking about. You've got a lot of great posts here. You have a lot of great content that you're sharing. So, all of this is really important and paints a really nice picture of your skill set and what you're looking to do in the industry. I think maybe perhaps that there could be some consolidation of this as a home page and some of the About Me. I think that, I might, if I could suggest moving this interview video maybe up here and then have a short description of like who you are and what it is that you're looking to do, and then a learn more. Something like that might work out nicely. Taking a look here at Robert's site, so like a really like stunning picture, and a very dapper, well-dressed, I'm assuming Robert. One of the things that I'm thinking about when I look at this is that it looks really like a lifestyle shot, right? Just something I might see in a magazine, not necessarily, but then I read like Global Solutionist, and that feels like really, very professional, very like boardroom, very worldly, very international, and this here looks somewhat domestic. So, just a thought, if you have another image that kind of supports this idea of global solutionist, maybe experiment with a few things there. As I'm kind of scrolling here, talks about the things that you're offering and what you're doing. But like here, I'm having to do quite a bit of scrolling to learn more about you. And this is the first snapshot that people see. And you don't want to make them hunt for information about you, right? And every time I have to make a motion or a movement or a click, it means that I've taken an additional step. And so recommendation here might be to move your name up here to the top and then some of this information up higher, so I'm not having to scroll to get it. I'm going to go next to your portfolio. So this is going to take me here to your work page, print and photo. So here I'm looking at just some different things that you've done, right? So they're like kind of on a nice collage here. I'm gonna click on one just to see what happens. Okay, so it doesn't look like anything. It's just that maybe I can download it is an option. And I'm clicking on these, and so I can see the visual aspect, but I don't really know how to understand what I'm looking at. I don't know what skill set you're trying to show me. I don't know if you designed them, if you took the pictures, if they were part of a larger marketing campaign. And so there's an opportunity for you to clarify, what it is that you want us to know about these pieces, right? And for some of them, I really would like to click on this and see it larger. I can't even really check out even the full title. So something to be thinking about is that you're leaving people without getting a full idea of your work. Also, kind of stylistically, you went from a black and white photo to a color one here. So something to be thinking about is like this shift in aesthetic. Hopping over to work experience. This reads kind of like your resume. So really beautiful job of, bringing this info from like a document into text here on the page, which is keyword-rich content, which will allow your resume and this information to be found when people do Google searches. There's a lot of like empty space, so I would recommend not giving it this much space in between. And also, in terms of the prioritization of the hierarchy of the information, so the most important thing should be this sort of big, bold thing. And Sage Software isn't the most important thing. It's that you are a communications manager. So I would swap these on each of them where you have that you are a communications manager and then at Sage Software down here. And the same thing for these other ones here, because what people are looking at is the role that you did and the part that you played in this organization. Overall, okay, so we've got some contact information down here, places where we can connect on social, and the ability to download a resume. So all of this really looks great. One thing to note is that like now that I'm here, how do I get back to that home page? Is this the home page? Okay, I think it is. Okay, so that that was a bit confusing for me, but so maybe something to be thinking about is maybe calling this home and then maybe having a little about me paragraph in this space. Let's see what happens when we go to this info. Okay, so that's just dropping down, and that's also kind of counterintuitive because it has an arrow pointing the other direction, and then the text and whatnot moved from the bottom up, right? And so. Just something to be thinking about in terms of the intuitiveness of these navigation systems that you've set up. You've got a lot of stuff here, and a few tweaks are really going to help this get to a place where it's easier to navigate and more intuitive when doing so. We're going to take a look at Brandon's here. So you let us know up front that you do these things, portfolio services beats. That's just like replicating what we see up here, just kind of giving us another path to that. I would say that you don't need to include that stuff here because it's very clearly listed up here at the top. Instead of having to scroll to find out more about the services that you offer or anything about you, that's what this Great Hero section is for. So maybe your name, a little bit about you, the services that you provide, right? These things over here. We've got your resume, way to contact you, some of the tracks that you want to show, and the ability to contact. So all of that is really important, well laid out. And then this looks like it's kind of scrolling. Okay, I thought it was going to be a one-pager, but now we've hopped over to see some of your audio, some of your beats. So it's cool that you include them and you say, what it is that you did for each of them. The title, the description, the roles that you played, also of interest, maybe the equipment that you used. Some of this, like video I created for school about LeBron. Like what did you do for this? Did you do all the pre-production? Did you do the shooting? Did you do the editing? All of that stuff is important to include because it lets me know more fully your skill set. So here you say documentary that I shot and edited. So like that's cool because now I know that you did both things there. Some of your design work, all of this is looking really good, right? So what's interesting to me is that under home, you share like a lot of stuff related to audio. So producer, audio engineer, video editor, but then under portfolio, you also have like quite a bit of design stuff. So something to be thinking about, like, should you add design to the homepage or does it matter that you include these design things? Is that the kind of work you want to do? Just be consistent with like what you're showing in your portfolio and that it's in line with what you say your services are that you provide. Beats for sale. So this is kind of taking me to a few places where, we can buy that music. So that's cool. And this is the contact form that drops me down here. You might consider putting a call to action or just simply saying like, kind of what kind of touch points you want or like why should people contact you. Just make it clear so that you can kind of filter out maybe the people who aren't a right fit. But overall, this is a really good place, and a few tweaks it's going to help get it to a more useful place for you. Here we have Cheyenne Design, Graphics, Branding, and Social Media Management. So we've got like this scrolling slider here that's giving us these nice preview images of some of the things that you've created. We've got a little welcome, some contact, and then all of these awesome places where we can connect online. And I'll hop over to the About Me really quick. Just a little bit of info, kind of just reiterating what it is that you do and some of your background. So all of this is really great. Jumping over to portfolio. So here we have another image slider, and I'm going to kind of click through some of these, and I'm going to click on it, and it's going to open up at another browser or another kind of light box effect, which I'm happy to see. And then we've got this title, and then branding work. So the description is important, right? So I can more fully understand what it is you created and appreciate it, right? Because now I know what it was for. So you've done a really nice job of explaining that. That shows value to not just the final product, but the process that you went through, in coming to that. So that's very well done. Looking at this page here, I look at a lot of portfolio websites, and I intuitively kind of know and guess that I can click on this and it's going to bring it up larger with this information. Wondering if maybe just even a small note somewhere about like clicking on an image to, learn more about it or to see a larger version, maybe that would be helpful. Jumping over to videos. So here we have just different videos. It looks like quite a bit that you're sharing here. It looks like you do have some custom thumbnails. And let's see, I'm just going to click on one, and when I hit play video, okay, it's just going to start playing here. And so one of the things like that as a visitor I'm kind of left wondering and hoping for is just more context. So I've got the title, right? summer meetup, but like, tell me more about this project. Tell me more about this video. Tell me about what the, what were the roles that you played in creating it. That is information that again helps me more fully appreciate everything that goes into creating a 4-minute video. Some people think that it's very easy, when we as media specialists know that it is not, that it takes a lot of work, especially to do a good job. So here, looking at your blog, always loving it when students are including blogs, because writing is hard and writing well is even harder. If you can write and you can keep up with the blog, I think that it really demonstrates a skill that is marketable and that you will be sought after for. So this is well done. And then contact, just a form. Here, under the About Me, you talk about being a freelance graphic designer, but there's not much here about, maybe the business side of being a freelance graphic designer. And this might be, a place that you could maybe put policies, procedures, pricing, or even just simply language like, if you want to engage me for a project, please email me here and provide these details. The reason why this is important, especially for a freelancer, is that time is money. And so if you're having to answer the same questions over and over again from people, maybe that information could be available on your website. And if you're not getting the info that you need from people and you're having to chase them down, perhaps you could create systems that make it easier for them to know what you want, and then they can provide that to you, maybe through a simple form. This is super great, Cheyenne. Just a few tweaks is going to make this even more, work for you even more. Here we're taking a look at Deanne's copywriting site. One of the things I love to see here is this custom domain. So certainly you guys are at a place now where you can invest in a custom domain, which generally runs $10 to $20 a year, and just really increases the professionalism of your site. So, the first thing that I notice is that there's no real branding element up here, that it's in this space and it's being cut off. I'm not sure if that's what's intended, right? But my suggestion would be to design a version of your logo that fits really nicely up here in the header. We've got a short little hello statement and then tells a little bit about what you do, so that's great. Scrolling down, talking about your internship. Okay, so this looks cool. And just kind of some of the things that you've done. Okay. So this is now taking me away from your site, right? So one of the things here is you want to make sure that you're not taking people away. You want to embed that content here and let someone view it in that space. Taking a look here, same sort of thing. You want to keep people here exploring your work instead of jumping down a YouTube rabbit hole. Now we're kind of like scrolling down and I'm seeing some other things here, like it looks like maybe some of the work that you've done, some of your education down here, some of your services. Right now I'm getting a lot of great content, but it's not organized in a way that is making a lot of organic sense in terms of its placement and flow. Here we've got like some more of your work, but also like the contact area and the place where we can connect via LinkedIn. Something for you to be thinking about is organizing this in a way whereby your projects are all on one page. Maybe there are different categories of projects, but they're all there. Have a simple contact page, and also, I see you've got some About Me information, and all of this is looking great. You've got your brand stuff, and this looks delicious. I would need to check this recipe out. But why can't I check it out? I really want to check out this recipe. So let's talk about this because it looks awesome. Okay, so this isn't allowing me to click further. So something there that you need to revisit. And then projects. So there's just 2 projects listed here, but on the home page there's a lot of projects. The content here is solid. The organization of it needs some clarification, just so that there's more ease of use and navigation, my recommendation would be to have a home page that says a little bit of about you, and then a little button that says learn more, and then maybe 3 featured projects, and then an about page which goes into more detail of your background and your experience, and then a projects page which houses all your projects and with titles, descriptions, richly contextualizing each project so people can fully understand what it is you do and how you do it. Jumping over to Marius's site here. So you let us know up front, journalist, host, broadcaster. We've got a nice image of you, but not much else here on the homepage. So let's take a look at what else you're going to share. There's some sort of like tape graphics here, and like they're fun, but I don't know if they are as professional as this image that you're sharing here. So the aesthetic doesn't look cobbled together. It's very, very professional looking. So here, just a little bit about you. We've got all about you. So notice here that the tape is gone on this page, so there's some inconsistency. Another thing that I want you to notice is that this is the identity and the brand of the site, but when I go to the about page, that it disappears. So you need to have that logo and branding stuff in the header so that it stays on every page. Got a lot of about you, but there's that tape stuff again, and like you just look too professional to have the tape on the pictures, right? Because that's kind of looking a little bit like arts and crafts, and you're looking way more GQ in these shots. Jumping over to my work, so you're listing a few things here, and it looks like I can click on this, and it's going to take me to a video.
Et nous allons essayer de vous les faire découvrir, les écouter pour savoir quelles sont leurs attentes.
Okay, so all that's awesome. But I didn't know that this was a video, and it took me somewhere that I didn't expect. So can you embed this stuff in the page so that you press play on the page and that it does not take you to YouTube? Because you've got all these great videos, but it's all taking me somewhere else. So my recommendation would be to embed the YouTube video here. Also, this all caps is a little bit hard to read, right? So if you've got sentence structure, if you've got more than just a few words, all caps makes it really difficult to read. So my recommendation would be to remove the all caps in that space. I'm going to jump next over to resume. So here, popping in this document. It looks like a reader, and it's coming on in. So I gave you a lot of feedback about this already, and so hopefully you can update that and update this section as well. But this is great keyword-rich content that can help you be found for your skills. Testimonials, so all this is great. Something to mention is that this oval aesthetic is different from all the other pictures that you've shared, which have been rectangular. And so like this just pops out as different, right? So you want to be more consistent with your styles. And then this is different, right? Because it's black and the typography looks different. So, I recommend you moving more in a direction of consistency with some of this, maybe a call to action too about why people can or should be contacting you here. Overall, you've got a lot of really great content, and you're in a really good place heading into Portfolio 7. Last but not least, we're taking a look at Patricia's site here. So we have just an invitation to look through and to get in touch with any questions. But that's all that's really on this page, as well as a quote from Don Draper. And then places to connect with you on social media. So I'm going to go here to the About page, and because I want to see how much content is here. It's not a ton, but like you have really great photography. What this looks like here is a picture. See, I'm trying to highlight this text, but I can't because this is a picture of words, meaning that you have maybe screenshotted your resume and uploaded it here. This is problematic for a couple of reasons. The first being that you can see that it looks a little fuzzy, and that's because there's compression in the JPEG image, making it a little bit harder to read. Secondly, search engines cannot index this content, meaning that this is keyword rich if it could be scanned, right? But it can't. So instead of taking a picture of your resume, I'm going to encourage you to just go ahead and put the text on the page in 2 columns, very similar to this, applying headings, subheadings, and bulleted lists, and you can recreate that. You can also see like how clear and clean this text and how great it looks versus this. Another thing is that when you have paragraphs of text, it all needs to be left aligned instead of center aligned for more easy readability. Portfolio content. So here we're kind of taking a look. It says explore content, and it looks like it's opening up something else completely. So logos, banners, things that you've created. Wondering why I've been taking something somewhere totally different, right? Why isn't this content housed up here? Would this alone work for you? If not, then you might consider consolidating this all to one site, because the jump to something else is a bit counterintuitive. Last but not least, we're going to jump over to contact. So a simple get in touch, contact form. All of this looks really great. So some recommendations would be to put a little bit more of an about you and what you're into here and move it up so I'm not having to scroll to see this text. Maybe put 1 or 2 featured projects here. Give me a title description, tell me about what you did and why, particularly as it's related to public relations, to your goals in media communications. Your logo up here is pretty small. It says PR Media. But I really kind of have to squint to see that. You might make it a little bit bigger up here in the header. You got a lot of great stuff here, but again, examine perhaps, why the portfolio goes somewhere else, and the number of clicks that I have to get through to find that work. And making a few small tweaks to this before you get into Portfolio 7 will be very important. So again, you guys, if you have any questions about this feedback that I've shared with you here today, please hit me up. And otherwise, keep pushing this to its next best place. Your portfolio will never be done because you're always doing better and more interesting work, always moving in a new direction. So please consider this one of many iterations that you'll need to do. And good luck as you move into Portfolio 7.